Good morning, everybody. I'm Roland, homeopath in Royston on Vancouver Island, and today I'm here in the forest with you. And you see, this is the northwest of North America and near the coast, and this is a rainforest. And I love this spot here just because when you look at this here, there's this moss-covered maple, trunk of the maple, and that really hugs the spruce tree next to it. I hope you can see this. The moss cover already shows you that it's moist here. We have a lot of rain here, and that ties into what I would like to talk about today with you. I want to introduce you to one of the elders, one of the ancient ones of this community. And this is here the fern people. This one is the sword fern that I'm standing here right into and in between. And the ferns is a very ancient community, or a very ancient group of plants. You know, the plants originally, all the land plants come out of the water, and the ferns still remember these old times and have certain specialties. They grow mainly in places that are moist, or at least partially time of the year moist. Why? I will tell you about that. These ferns, they have spores on the lower side of their, like here, on the lower side of their leaflets in the front. And so you might ask, what is spores? It's not quite as seeds. From the seed, you can plant a seed and a new plant comes out, grows out of it. With spores, it's a little bit more difficult. These spores are blown around from the wind, get to the ground somewhere, and the first thing what they do, they grow a tiny little bit, something like a leaflet, it's called prothelium, and it's just a few millimeters wide. And on this prothelium, there's then the sexual organs, an egg and a sperm producing organ. And when it's raining and it's all covered with water, then the sperm swims to the egg, fertilizes the egg, and out of this fertilized egg now a new fern plant can grow. So you see, they still have the total dependency to water as their ancestors that came out of the water and settled the land. That's why we have them in such abundance here in our Pacific rainforest, because we just have a lot of rain here. We have a lot of precipitation. And I told you, it's one of the ancient ones, one of the old ones, the elders of this community. The ferns are roughly about 380 million years old. And with that age, they lived through 3, maybe even 4 of the 5 big mass extinction periods on this earth, and they survived it. That means, I think, that it's a good time today to talk with them and to sit with them and to listen to their old stories, because right now we are in the 6th mass extinction period. And we need their knowledge because they survived already several of these massive events on this earth. And it is a little bit like, it also has something to do with our elders. The elders, they hold the stories of older times, and so do these plants. And in order to make it through turmoil, we need to listen to that. And maybe I tell you, one of my native teachers, an old lady, she had told me that everything in life has a certain number of energetic steps it goes through, and at a certain time, a part of it has to go backwards to the origin for the whole thing to move ahead and complete its cycle. That is very interesting, and I could see that in my life and in people's life, when there's trouble, when then we have to remember where we come from. At times we have to look back into our childhood to make sense of our life and to deal with certain things that we carry on from there in order to move ahead. At other times we have to visit and go further back, even to our birth or before our birth, or go back even to our ancestral lineage in order to make sense of what we're going through today. And so in a time when life on this planet is endangered right now, it's probably also a good time to go back to these ancient ones, to these ancient times that these ferns are talking about. And as far as I understand these ferns, they also give us medicines for healing. Now, what they do, they combine something very, very old and ancient, stories of ancient times when life was still young. So in a way, it's almost a little bit, for me at least, it's hard to think. It's something very ancient, talking about a time when life was still young. And this is important for us. And when you look at what elders do, what our old people do, they often talk about old times when they were young. So this is something that's really important, and I think that these groups of plants like ferns and others, these ancient groups, are really important, especially for our older people, like me and older. Yeah, when we struggle with this being old and our thoughts go back to when we were young, and when this tension can get too big, then it's possible that we go into places where our thinking is inhibited and we go into dementia. And I think that fern people can help us with that, as remedies, as homeopathic remedies also. Yeah, with indigenous peoples, they respect the elders very, very highly. And even when you look back into the history here in North America, even when they had to flee and they were fighting strongly with the American or Canadian American army, yeah, and when they were really in trouble, they never abandoned their old people, because the children and the old people were the most precious part of the community. So much they were respected, and it's really a shame that today we put our elders, we call them seniors, and put them away in seniors' home, and we entertain them. But it should be the other way around. We should shut up and listen to what they have to tell us. So today I would like to encourage you to contact with the elders, to contact like the old, seemingly boring plants like ferns. They don't have these exciting flowers. They don't show off with beautiful flowers and things, yeah. But they have stories to tell us that are important. Maybe contact also some of the old people in your community and just sit with them, spend time with them, listen to them, ask them questions. It's really precious what they have to tell, because whatever if their life was a success or a failure, yeah, this doesn't matter, but they have stories to tell about it that we can learn from. And in that way, the elders again will be an important part of our community. And in the same way that they can help us to make sense of our life, because we some of what we're dealing and what we are struggling with in our lives comes from before we were born, and we need to know the stories. At least it's good when we know, because if we don't know, we still have to deal with it, because this sits in our nervous system. We carry that along, and it's hard without story to deal with it. It's like fighting with a ghost that does not have a face. So it's important that we listen to these stories, both to the stories of our elders, of the old people in our family, of the old people in our community, so we know about our own history, where we come from, but also to the elders of our plant community, of all the ancient the animals and plants and that surround us. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I can encourage you a little bit to take that on. It would be great. I think it would be good for us all. Thank you so much and have a good day. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Take care.